Hey friends, welcome to Battletech Blades of Honor Season 1, Episode 13, set in the year 3046. You should know, we have been nominated for an award. We are currently up for Best Show on your third monitor at this moment right now. No, that one was too much of a stretch. You know what? All right, yeah, some of these are bombs. I'll save it for intro hour. Hey, right now, what we're looking at is a man in a tailored white silk shirt with a black vest over top of it. The vest has a little attached name tag that says Chef Powers Concierge. He is on a brick cell phone saying, "Yes, that's right. Okay, look, I'm going into a place, communications aren't good in there. I'm going to lose reception. All right, I'll see you soon. I love you so much. Okay, bye." And he closes the tiny little flap at the bottom where, the speaker is, and then stuffs it into his back pocket. Now, for a normal man, their back pocket surely could never fit this, but this is, a man played by Andre Powers, former White House chef, who is huge, so his back pocket fits it just fine. See, Chadwick Powers opens the door. I'm not even gonna roll for do you ambush him or does he sense it? This warehouse is made for Yakuza meetings between different factions. It's soundproofed. He is not expecting to be ambushed. He opens the door and three people who are ready and waiting for him with weapons and armor, while he is armed only with a cell phone and a vest. He walks into the room, and Akari Genji slowly turns around in her swivel chair to face him as he just stands with the door open, taking up the whole doorway. And you can see his face is undergoing a bunch of calculations, doing the math, doing some odds right now. But he doesn't take the first action. If any of you want to jump in here and do anything first, you can go ahead.
So he hasn't actually walked into the room yet.
He is in the doorway doing math.
Doing math. You should have had him say, "I'll be there before cake and presents, I promise." If neither of my companions are going to do anything, and if he's standing there, I will gesture for him to take a seat opposite me.
Okay.
Right? Long conference table? That's what I'm imagining. Okay.
Not that long. The room isn't huge, but yeah.
Okay.
It's less of a circle and more of a rectangle. So he sits down at the other end of the rectangle. The chair is questionably small for someone of his size. He has to extend the arms out on the side. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then he takes a ridiculous 20 seconds to get the height right because it's way too tall for him. Like, his knees are basically touching the table at this height, so he gets it pushed down. You hear the air escaping from it.
I'll close the door behind him.
It's kind of like a sardonic letdown of the tension of the violence you thought you might have to do. Rad has been checking his character sheet and it's like, happen. I have a spike thrower. What's that? And I'm like, it's a shotgun. You have a shotgun. You're ready with a shotgun to kill him.
I have a shear rifle. I'm just going to shoot him in half.
You don't have a shear rifle.
I know. I know. We talked about that.
I'm
remembering that one. Yeah.
He says to you, I trust that Ryu as well. Have you killed him? Or is this a double cross?
We're here for you. At least for now. No one else is. You're the first person we wanted to see.
The man who arranged this meeting, Epizona Ryu. Where is he?
He is unharmed.
Is the Ganzu Kai protecting the Shinsen?
I'm not sure why you think this is your opportunity to set the agenda of this meeting. You must know why we're decided to speak with you today.
You can see he's clenching his jaw, and I'm one of those neck beard no necks, but you could see his neck is getting really tense.
Yeah, I can see that, and I just say, you can postulate and calculate and ask as many questions as you like. None of that will do anything to improve your odds of walking out of this room. There's only one thing you can do to improve those odds, and that's your uncompromised cooperation. I know this world well, and I know that I can't expect you to tell me what I want to know. Well, you know that I want to know. And I'm sure you also understand what the likely outcomes of that are. I'm not here to insult your intelligence. We have only one deal to offer you that results in your survival. And if you don't take it, then I can't see another road forward that doesn't end in violence. Would you like to hear the deal?
He turns his head sideways for a moment and then back. He doesn't say anything, but he looks like he's waiting.
We have business that's going to take us is out of character. Is to say out of system would be fair, right? This is like multiple jumps away in a whole nother region of space that we're heading.
Yep.
Far outside the Combine. We'll be traveling for this business far outside the Combine, well outside the influence of any local organizations. And we can provide you transportation wherever it is you might like to go and start a new life along that route in a new part of space. And all it will take is some names.
So he clenches his teeth and then he says, "Why would I want to leave? I'm quite comfortable where I am right now."
How comfortable will those be that you leave behind when you're gone?
What did I do to deserve this treatment?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know that you've done anything. But I think I think you can point me in the direction I want to head.
Do you want the truth, or do you have a name you want me to say?
Can I get a read on him? Do I know which would make him more likely to cooperate?
I thought that someone would try to roll some sort of insight, although I believe for this system it's perception. I'd like to offer a compromise where I show the audience the roll so that they know that I'm not bullshitting it, but you roll it into a hidden zone so you don't know what the roll is.
Sure. In this white zone here?
Yeah, hold on a sec. I got to make it not see-through.
It's opaque to me.
It's opaque to me.
Perfect.
But no, might still be to the audience, though. Yeah.
They can see it. They can see what I see.
Okay. Is this about the middle? I don't want to put the dice in like a weird spot. Okay, so
roll
right
them.
about here.
When they're down on the table, I will pick them up and move them out and
So
fiddle with like their faces so that you won't know.
Perception, wisdom?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to be a +2.
Okay.
But if are they rolling? I mean, I may have clicked off. Okay.
You should still be able to drag click objects that are in there.
Should I not, or should I have my opportunity to re-roll if it's bad?
I will let you know if
we can't drag click what's in there now.
Okay, I'll bring it back out. Well, that
Okay,
was a
okay.
pretty good roll on my part.
Let me select them, drop them in, try and roll them.
Okay, you're not going to want to re-roll that.
Okay.
What is your total?
It's whatever I rolled +2.
Okay. You have a full read on this man.
Sick.
You get the look of someone who thinks that you are here to talk about Matsuri's death. And it's clear to you that he doesn't know who did it. He has some ideas. He's got no proof about anybody. He's no rat. He still wants to live here on this planet. But you're making it very clear that you basically will murder him if he stays. So he has kind of two options. He can give you something that will be unsatisfactory to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can see on his face that he knows that you are not going to like what he has to say because he doesn't have what you want. Or you can tell him who you'd like to have been responsible for it. And in every way that matters, he will make it seem that way. Now, it should be noted that the read you're getting from him is not the read of someone who is having a conversation with the Lord, who is having a conversation with the samurai. This conversation between the two of you is on the basis that he is speaking to a Yakuza princess of another society who currently has him in a bad spot.
This is gangster to gangster at the moment. Well, Mr. Powers. My first choice would be true justice. Now, I'm not so foolish to know that you may or may not have all the answers that I want. But as you are our only lead and contact within your organization, we've sought you out. So you can make yourself useful to me and my friends in resolving this situation in whatever way you can. And if you think you can help us and continue to exist here, I'll leave you here. I won't make you leave. But if you cooperate and you help us in every way that you can, then not only will we not kill you, we'll transport you and your loved ones off planet. So you tell me. Your turn. I talk, you talk.
I don't know what it is you... For all I know, the person who did it is dead already. Do you want the person that ordered it? Do you want the person that performed it? We have an internal war going on, and I am the only neutral arbiter of the Inuyama.
I want to know who ordered it.
I don't know who ordered it. I have some thoughts.
I'd like to hear them.
Well, I can tell you who it definitely wasn't. It's probably not Skolpada Oda. All right? That guy, he doesn't have it in him. He doesn't have what it takes to perform that kind of ruthless act. Now, we got a Davian ex-convict who came over the border, who we've been keeping as a guest member, JW. This could be the kind of insane play he might pull off. We have Ragnar the Bold.
Sorry, remember Akari, we've had one previous conflict with a Davian immigrant.
Was that the guy that you dueled?
The mech pilot.
Oh, right.
Now, hold on. That's not strictly true. That was a lifelong Combine citizen who was a corporate security guard / mercenary who you were told long after the investigation was over was hired by the Davians to attack you. He himself was not strictly a Davian citizen. You were told that he harbored pro-Davian sympathies. Not an immigrant.
Do you mind if I share some thoughts, Akari?
Please.
So we're here for two reasons. We have two separate goals in mind. One of those goals is time-oriented, and that is, as Samurai of our Lord, we have been commanded to produce an outcome to this investigation. The second part is that the noble who was murdered was the fiancé of one of our number. And that is a matter of personal honor, which requires going to the true source. But that's also not time-oriented. So would a potential solution be that... well, let me ask you a question first, sir. If you properly motivated, would you be able to find out more about who did this over time? You don't know right now, but do you have the resources and the connections to learn more? If you're motivated to do so.
Man, it sounds like you're going to kill me if I don't agree to do that.
That's not what I said, and that's not what I'm asking.
That's not what you said, but he says that and he's pointing at Akari. That's not what you said.
I'm asking if you were properly motivated. Whatever motivates you, I'm not saying that's your life. I'm asking you, do you have the resources, or is it beyond your capacity to be able to learn that?
I need you to understand that there is a non-zero possibility that the person who did this and the person who ordered it have died in the last week. The answers you're looking for, you may not be able to find. I'm not saying it couldn't be Ragnar the Bold or JW, but young Mike is dead. We've lost a quarter of our Tepidama. That's all internal strife.
I'm going to approach Akari. I'm going to say this quite openly in front of him, but I'm actually saying this to Akari.
Okay.
I'm just thinking out loud here, Akari, that as he says, he can produce enough evidence to provide a realistic scapegoat here, something that potentially satisfies the Shugo's honor and puts this matter to bed for now. I wouldn't I wouldn't at all ask Siegfried to accept that as just response, but we can pursue just response later on. Maybe we will find out later on that the real culprit is dead. But potentially we can make allies, or you can make allies here, if we do this in such a way that brings an end to this violence, but also pointing out when
I'm winking to the audience real quick.
Okay,
you keep talking. Don't look over here.
Okay, no worries. Sorry, you're right next to Rad's face on my screen. Yeah. I know, I mean, you understand this world better than I do, but I understand that you've got two factions, yours and theirs, that are currently at odds. Is there a possibility to use this to build a bridge, satisfy our daimyo's honor, and then we come back at some later point, maybe with the assistance of those we ally with now, and we find out, for Siegfried's sake, who actually did this, and we make them answer for it?
He asks me, but I look at Siegfried.
I think this entire time Siegfried's been like behind our guest, kind of like pacing, and you can see that he's like he's been holding his gun and he's been like fingering the safety on and off over and over again because he hasn't decided what to do with this guy as the events have played out. When you guys look at him, I think he would kind of like holster his gun and say like, I would prefer true justice, but I can accept the idea of him pointing someone out to take the blame so that it doesn't affect potentially friendly people within our own sphere of influence, and then finding the actual culprit at a later date. But when we find that person, I want them.
And if they're no longer alive to be found?
That's going into this, I kind of assumed that was a possibility. As much as as much as it would hurt to not be able to avenge my wife's death, some realities we just have to face.
Well, I'll stand by my earlier promise, and that's that whatever justice can be had, I will ensure that you have it, even if it's a cold justice.
Mm-hmm.
I look back to Powers. Are you prepared to be useful in the way that me and mine have described to you?
I will tell you what I want. I will deliver to you for a conversation the man I think was involved. Whether he did it, whether he ordered it, whether he knows about it, that's for you to decide. And when that is done, all business between the Inuyama and the Shinsen is done. No blood, no vengeance, we're done. That's my offer.
You have the authority to make that deal?
No one has the authority to make that deal. There is no boss.
And could you remind me out of character, Arthur, when I talked to, what was his name? Ryu?
Arizona Ryu.
I had him suggest to me who the boss of boss would like to see come out on top.
Yeah.
And it was the mild-mannered guy, right?
Skolpada Oda, yes.
Skolpada Oda, okay. All right. So this works towards that goal as well, right? If he delivers me one of these other two guys.
Sure.
Is that correct? Okay. But only I know about that.
Correct.
Okay. So I say to Powers, and you can help us in making this person that you suspect appear responsible?
I don't know if he is or isn't responsible.
That's not what I asked.
He can be made to take responsibility for the act.
Do I know what he means by that?
I mean, it's kind of ominous, you know.
Okay.
Is there like a roll I can make to figure out if he means like, is this guy our scapegoat, or is he in some way like through the intrinsic property we can blame him for the actual murder?
I'm gonna ask you the same deal. Roll into the hidden zone. The audience will know the truth. You will not.
Okay. I'm gonna roll the same red dice. I just put them in and slam the R button a bunch, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you have a reroll?
No, I have no rerolls.
And your total bonus is?
For which one?
Wisdom perception.
Perception. Wisdom is a 0, perception is a 1, so +0.
Okay. You are getting no read that will lock down any answers here. This guy is playing it cool. You want assurances, and he doesn't have any to give you.
All right, I give my two homies a meaningful PC glance to see if they're up nodding this deal or giving me, say, okay.
Universal sign of dissent.
Yeah, I think our only options are either we kill him or we take this deal. Those are the.
Yeah.
If we know he's not responsible for it, then killing him doesn't really further our goals. It's just that we don't like the guy.
Right. Yeah. Because he's not wrong when he says, "I didn't do anything." Like as far as we know, he didn't actually do anything. Right. Like.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand up.
Okay.
And I give him a very slight nod in affirmation and a very shallow bow.
He gives you a deeper bow, but not very deep.
Mm-hmm.
Stands up, pulls out his cell phone, and begins to exit the room.
Can we let him leave?
I mean,
You can let him leave. You mean should you let him leave?
I don't feel like we should let him leave.
Hold on. We haven't got what we discussed.
I can't make phone calls from inside this building.
You were literally on the phone when you walked in.
That scene took place outside the building. If that is the thing I specifically said, he closed the phone before walking into the building.
Oh, I thought it was before he walked in.
Okay.
And his dialogue literally said, "My cell phone won't work inside the building. Love you." Close the phone.
I'm gonna let you guys follow him out, but I'm gonna kind of remain in the building because I don't know.
We're in a conference room. You're telling me there's no landline in here for
this
like a conference
is a
phone?
secret Yakuza meeting room for discussing back alley deals. There's no possibility for wiretaps from the police in here. No, there's no internal phone system.
So we'll just follow him out. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Two of you follow him outside. Now, it should be noted, again, while we are all speaking English, technically, all of our characters are speaking Japanese, more or less all the time. Powers begins speaking Japanese at an incredibly rapid rate on the phone. He seems to be asking for someone to find Winifred's daughter, bring her to him, and then he calls someone and says, JW, it's time to pay your debt to me. I need you at the following address in the next 15 minutes. No questions asked. Don't speak. If you aren't here in 14 minutes and 50 seconds, I'm going to do what we discussed. It's time to pay that debt. And then he hangs up the phone.
Did he speak to JW in Japanese?
Yes.
Okay.
But it was much slower Japanese.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a role I want to try to make here, but I don't know. I don't know
what
what
would you like to
for.
do, and we'll figure out how we want to roll for it.
I kind of want to read the vibe of what he's asking this guy to, like, calling in the favor.
I mean, he's asking this person to die for him.
Yeah,
it's literally what's happening. Yeah, this guy's taking the fall.
Yeah,
he's saying you or your daughter. Yeah.
Right, but I don't know.
Are you looking for deceit? Like, is he?
Yeah, like
that's one.
You've already made that roll, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like if I can discern that Like, is he setting this guy up just to take the fall, or is this like
You've made that roll, and
okay?
you had nebulous
Yeah.
readings.
Failure?
I understand you want to know the answer. It's just your character
Yeah.
doesn't have it.
Look, he did
Right.
say earlier that JW could be one of the people behind this, and so he's just picked out the person he feels is most obvious because it's the person probably easiest to tie it to if he's got to create a chain of evidence.
It's also conveniently the person he seems to have some personal leverage on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
No, if he's a good conciliary, he's got leverage on everybody.
And as characters, would we know that JW is the Davian guy they're hiding?
That's what he implied.
Okay. Cool.
I'm just thinking my internal monologue is if they've lost a quarter of their strength, does my criminal family organization have any ambitions to come over and claim new territory?
That would be completely contrary to the stated mission of
Yes.
getting
Well,
out
to the
of
mission?
the business. The
Oh, yeah,
mission
yeah, I guess
of
so.
the Shinsen.
Well, that's their mission for me, though. Or they all want to get out of the business?
They want to properly legitimize their holdings and leave the
That's
life
right.
behind, become regular, wealthy middle-class citizens who have controlling.
It's Peaky Blinders situation.
Peaky Blinders, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have only seen part of the first episode of Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. It's all about using organized crime to become a legitimate bookmaker.
Ooh, okay, I guess. I mean, here's my recollection of how Peaky Blinders goes. You're using a Chinese? That's it. That's the entirety of the 10 minutes that I watched.
So, okay.
I mean, you know, organized crime trying to go legitimate and fucking up along the way is a tale as old as time. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'm about to fuck it up.
About 13 minutes later.
Do you guys bring him back in when he's done talking?
I mean, he doesn't come back inside.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he's going to leave.
Well,
Okay.
I got the impression that he's told JW to come here.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But is his daughter coming here too? Like he's having his homie bring his daughter here as well?
That's not clear.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Siegfried, I would like you to roll a luck saving throw.
Boy.
This is a D20 roll. You're a warrior. You need a
So I
13 or higher.
I got to roll the D20.
Yes.
You're being sniped from 2 blocks away, 7 stories up.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
That's a 10.
Okay.
Do my the 6 grenades I'm carrying all spontaneously explode?
No. A 20-year-old street style, kind of like a European sports car in America sort of deal. A cheap little thing drifts sideways into the parking lot, and a young man with greasy dark hair that's just kind of floofed up, wearing a purple robe, steps out and looks at everyone here. Doesn't recognize anybody besides Powers, and starts heading over, and he just, you know, not in Japanese, in English, says to the two of you, like, okay, so what is this about that you're apparently calling in favors to get me here?
This is when I walk out dramatically.
Okay, he does recognize you, and at that point he goes pale.
I'm guessing you figured it out.
I don't say anything. I'm letting Powers take the stage here.
I mean, Powers is just staring at him while this guy does math.
I think the implication is this is Power's end of the bargain. He's delivered this guy here to us.
Mm-hmm.
So JW looks at Powers and says, "What do they know?" And Powers puts one hand to his chin and rubs it and says, "They know everything, JW. Just like I do." JW goes to the back of his car, he pops the trunk, and he pulls out a familiar looking submachine gun.
Familiar to the audience, right? Not familiar
Yes.
to us. Okay.
Is he brandishing it, or is he pulling it out like
It doesn't have
like,
a magazine in.
Okay.
Closes the trunk and puts the gun on the back of it, and then he kneels down. At this point, from around behind the building, Hebizono Ryu walks out. On his left hand, there is a bandage that appears to be very bloody.
He didn't have previously?
That he didn't have previously. Seems to be down a pinky finger.
Didn't that mean he got in trouble?
I mean, he just to be very clear, this guy used his position as a neutral mediator to help trick Chadwick Powers into meeting with you. He is in so much trouble.
And his boss found out already?
He called his boss. I'm telling you this.
Oh, okay.
He called his boss and told him what happened because that would be better than his boss finding out.
Right. And his boss was like, cut your own pinky finger off.
Snitches get stitches, even if he needs to stitch himself. I'll offer Siegfried my Tanto.
I was gonna say, what is protocol here? Like,
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing. Like what
I mean, is
as
this,
far
I
as
mean,
what our Lord
Tantos,
requires.
Y'all are talking samurai shit. This guy's a filthy criminal who killed your fiance.
Well,
All right,
I
let's
mean,
be
a
really
Tanto's
clear here.
A Tanto's just a knife, isn't it? Like, I mean,
Sure.
if he cut his
It
throat,
does
that's
have
not-
some level of ritual, right? I mean,
Yeah.
But you don't get the honor of like having your head chopped off by like a family sword, right? Like somebody just stands behind you and slit your throat like a pig, right?
I don't
I was
know why
gonna
you
say-
think a Yakuza would have a family sword.
No, I mean like a samurai wouldn't like lower themselves to give this guy like an honorable beheading, right?
Samurai chopping people up is pretty standard. I mean, execution of justice.
Just gonna
There's
suggest cutting
no.
his throat,
I mean, it doesn't
and then
dishonor you to execute a criminal.
because if you cut his throat, you can later cut his head off to take it along as evidence. If you shoot him in the face, all you've got is a pulpy mess.
I think in front of everybody here, I'm gonna ask. Siegfried's gonna ask Akari and Hiro to grab his wrists or grab his hands.
Just out of character, what like as far as what our Lord requires, right? Does he want this guy brought before him alive? Like I'm trying to remember what are like does he just can we just bring back a body and point and go,
You
this
aren't
guy?
sure. He didn't tell you to do anything
Okay.
specifically. And
All right.
again, to be very fair, I've tried to be as transparent about this as possible. This is a society where giving direct orders is a faux pas. That way,
Right.
if you make a mistake, it's on you. And this guy can just say, oh, they misinterpreted my orders. It's on them. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like, if you are wrong, this is a protection for the hierarchy. So,
Like we don't need a signed confession from this guy or like
We've got the murder weapon. He's put the murder weapon down.
Yeah.
There's I figure there's enough evidence here to simply just take his head
I
and the
think
murder
so.
weapon back and say to our Lord, "No need to worry anymore. The matter's taken care of. There won't be any more
Right.
problems."
and the police, like I'm sure we can give them this submachine gun and they can do ballistics on it and be like, this is the weapon that was used to shoot up this alley, right? Like
so are you grabbing his wrists?
Yeah, if that's what he
that's
wants.
what-
Okay,
Yeah,
so
if that's what he wants.
This guy went from I'm going to have a cool, peaceful death where my head gets cut off and it's over quickly, to
About to be
now,
blood eagled.
yeah, now there's this. He's looking at Chadwick Powers and he just says, I'm doing this for my daughter. That's the only reason I'm here. And then he's wriggling, trying to get out of this. But I mean, two strong people are holding him in place, and you see him seething at you, Siegfried. And he goes,
Good.
I ordered it, and I would do it again. I would kill that filthy mongrel bitch.
I'm gonna ask them to and like guide my friends to place his hands down on the back of the trunk, like so
Okay.
they're flat. And I'm gonna pull out my actual family blade, and I'm gonna look at him and say, I'm not known as a wise man, but to my understanding, I know that when someone in your position makes a mistake, the tradition is that you lose a finger, and I'll slice one of his fingers off. And I'll say, I think everyone needs to know that what you did was a really, really big mistake. And I'll just work my way through his hands, cutting all of his fingers off.
As you started doing this, he's talking over you to Akari. He's just like, she was never going to be one of us, and you won't be either. Neither of you will ever be Yaku. But then his finger gets cut off, and then it's just screaming, and there's no talking at that point. He's a man who's getting his fingers cut off,
Yeah.
and he's just sobbing. It requires two people to hold him in place and hold him up at the same time. He is trying to wriggle and get away, and also the intense pain is putting him in shock.
After I've finished taking all of his fingers off, I'm going to walk over to Ryu with the fingers in hand and give them to him and says, it seems you lost a finger for us. Please allow me to reimburse you. Siegfried will then walk back to this guy, and before he bleeds out from his fingers being lost, he'll pull his sidearm out and just empty his clip into the guy's stomach.
Okay, I rolled a physical effects save of 17 to see if this guy was going to die from shock, but no, he dies from being shot a bunch of times in the stomach. Heavy's owner Ryu looks at the finger that you hand him. When you are looking at him, he's like, oh, yes, very interesting. Thank you for the gesture. And as soon as you turn away, he throws it over his shoulder into the ocean, where it immediately begins getting eaten by fish. Like
some cool like gangster shit, and he's like, "That's not how you do that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think while this guy's bleeding out, I'm going to turn to Chadwick and thank him for bringing me this, and gesture to the guy on the ground. And then I don't know about the rest of you, but Siegfried will sit here and watch him bleed out until he's dead.
That won't be long.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to take too long considering everything.
the Powers gets out his cell phone and is just having calls. He's calling the other two boss heads and is explaining that JW is dead, that, whatever beef they have with the Shinsen is over. And I'm going to make a roll here for his power play to become the new boss. We'll see just how convincing his...
I think we should make it clear that we are leaving town as soon as, on the next flight, basically.
Okay.
We're making good our arrangement to no longer be involved in this.
On a 7, this guy, it's clear from his end on the communications that there's still no consensus as to who the new boss is.
But he's delivering the message, even if it's not going to put him in a position of authority.
I mean, this was his play to turn around this situation into becoming the leader. Whatever leverage he just had on one of the 3 potential boss candidates is gone, and this guy just shot his shot to take his place and lost.
Okay.
In terms of Lord of the Rings, this guy is greatly diminished and probably...
He sails to the west.
Yeah, probably not going to be consigliere for very much longer now that it's not...
Give me a call.
Does he want to take us up on that offer?
The deal still stands, if he changes his mind.
I'll tell him that. I'll be like, I'll hold my end of the bargain. Don't come sniffing around my neighborhood for business again.
I need travel details for myself, a woman, my son, and a little girl.
I'll nod, say, give me a way to contact you and find a safe place to be until then. Because we have like
He
a
pulls
day,
out
a
his
week, right? It's going to
silver
happen quick.
business card holder. You have 48 hours to solve this crime
Okay.
that you've just solved.
Then he needs to be like packed and like standing by in our town, right? Like he needs to go now.
He's got 48 hours then to.
I tell him that.
Okay. He hands you.
I was like, if you don't like the details, you can walk at any point.
There's
But I
nowhere
took the
to
business card.
look. I played a hand the best I could, and it looks like leaving with you is the only way I'm going to live through this.
Well,
You know what they say. Snitches end up folded in the river.
well, we forced your hand, and you played it, but you did what I asked you to do. So I have no problem, no issue honoring what was previously discussed. So be at the airfield. I'll send you details as soon as I have them. If they're not to your liking, like I said, we can go our separate ways and we'll each just end up however we end up. I'm sure there'll be consequences all around.
We enter into the cinematic phase where the three of you turn and walk away in echelon formation.
And cool explosions go off behind us.
No.
Yeah. Powers explodes.
JW finishes dying on the ground as you walk away.
We got to take him with us, right? His body
Sure.
and the weapon.
He's dead.
Well, just ahead.
Just a head. The head and the weapon.
The theme to The Godfather plays as it becomes clear that Akari Genji no longer has any way to escape her Yakuza heritage. Any shot she had of her organization going legitimate died during this deal.
Nah, it'll be fine.
This is like Mass Effect. You've reached the end of this particular mission run, and it's clear that you've gained a bunch of renegade points. Let me be
Again,
real
never
obvious.
played Mass Effect, but that's okay.
Wow, rad.
I don't love
it's
single
okay.
player
It's okay.
RPGs.
That's fine.
Is it, bro?
The Sovereign reveal is so good.
Is it though? Yeah. It's okay. I'm prepared to be admonished for not playing Mass Effect.
Hey, I can admonish people for a lot of things. I'm surprised, but there is no admonishment here, just sadness.
I have no doubt it's a great franchise. I just again.
Ooh, I don't know about great franchise.
Okay.
Let's say the
Game
original
1 and
3
2.
are pretty good. Yeah.
1 and 2 are great. 3 was good up until it ended, and then I never touched Andromeda. I heard it was buggy.
I
I'm a multiplayer sit in a lobby game. I don't know, kind of guy. I don't I like RPGs.
He wants to see a
But-
Thieves right there.
but only if they're massive multiplayer. Yeah.
You catch a flight back to Hongetsu City. As you're coming into the Leonard Carita Memorial Spaceport and Airport.
Although, so we do take the submachine gun. If we have to, like, sort of show samurai credentials to transport that, that's part of what we do.
I think you'll have to show the credentials for the head.
Head.
Yeah.
Again,
We just have it in a bowling ball case.
It's
You
an
are-
I was gonna
agricultural
say I'm
concern.
gonna
you very
put it in a
obviously are
styrofoam cooler
wealthy
with ice and say it's an
nobles.
organ donor.
Yeah, you very obviously are wealthy nobles. There's no question they'll privately allow you, because this is a caste-based society. They're not going to question if you're carrying a weapon with you, especially swords. The gun might get a questioning look through airport security. The head, however, will require some answers from someone that's in charge.
I just
A
pay 'em
minor
off.
noble in security forces.
Well, it
Just
paid off because we have a legitimate
I mean,
reason for taking this head. We've
I was
been
gonna say,
commanded
like,
by a regional lord to do this, so we don't need to
Sure.
pay anybody.
I mean,
Right.
I'll use whatever authority I got to pull to be like, we were told to
It's-
bring this man to justice. And
This
we
was
did.
an honor. Yeah, this was an honorable revenge killing. This is
Again.
perfectly fine. Yeah.
There's no need for money to exchange hands here. It can if you want to. It's just that normally you would walk into the airport and you wouldn't even need to check your bags. You would just walk in. It's like, for you, airports are like pre 9/11. For everybody else, they're like post 9/11. However, this head thing is so unusual. You have a 20-minute conversation, which may leave you impatient because you're not used to being stopped for any reason by anyone.
This also isn't our city, right? So
Correct. You are in Shibaka.
we came in quietly, but we don't necessarily have to leave quietly, right?
Yeah.
You outrightly murdered a man on a public wharf outside a warehouse.
I'm a samurai. Don't I get to do things like that?
Yes. But
Okay.
doesn't...
So
I'm not
attract
saying
attention.
you can't do that. I'm saying it was not quiet. You did it outside of a well-known Yakuza meeting spot.
Was there not someone nearby yelling about his Fourth Amendment rights?
Oh my god. This wait, Fourth Amendment rights?
Doesn't that protect you against like unlawful search and seizure?
Is that what you think would happen here? You didn't break into his house.
But it's like when you illegally detain. I always watch those videos where people like body cam, like bad police interactions.
Just just hassle the police.
And then they're always yelling about their Fourth Amendment rights, to not be detained, not have to give their name,
quote some statute, and you can't ID me. I'm not going to give my. I don't answer questions.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is closer to a Third Amendment rather than Fourth Amendment situation. And it's not close to either of those.
Yeah.
And again, this is Draconis Combine. You don't have those rights.
Right, you might have a robust social media network which convinces people they do, and they yell about it when they think they're being denied rights that they don't actually have.
I'm
You know,
gonna
James,
go...
I thought I was the Anthony Birch this episode. It turns out you're the Anthony Birch this episode, which is weird.
Can we, when we get back, we're gonna take the submachine gun to Detective Hiro, right?
Okay.
Because he helped us, right? He helped us point us in this this guy.
I need to be very clear. Are you taking the submachine gun?
I think it should be Siegfried and I because we're the ones that engaged with him.
You're the ones that
before.
made the deal. Yeah. Y'all do that, and I'll wait. We'll all take the head in together, but you guys can do the murder weapon situation.
Now, are you just dropping the gun off with him and it's a quick, flash montage, or are you wanting to have a conversation with him about this gun?
I think I'm happy to sort of spend a couple of minutes just to talk about what the conversation is. I mean,
I think if I can, I think Siegfried walks in first, drops the gun on his desk, and then drops the whatever container we have the head in on his desk. Says, "This is the weapon that did it. This is the guy that did it." And then I'll walk past Hiro on my way out.
sorry, detective. Yes, we were able to find the person that ordered this. They confessed while also having the motor weapon in their vehicle. They are no longer alive. But please, we'll need to take the head in order to report back to the Shogu. But will the motor weapon give you sufficient evidence to close your case?
I mean, I can try to match ballistics here, but awfully convenient for Akari Genji that there's no one left to ask about this, and that her best friends show up with the murder weapon.
We were ordered by the Shogu to go and seek justice. I'll happily give you a written statement if that would help.
He is going to insight check you. I'm going to tell you, the audience, what this guy's thinking. This guy's thinking
Okay.
Akari killed her own cousin, and that this team has been covering it up the whole time. Oh boy, that's
wow.
double sixes. All right, so that is dash in his mind. You're muted, Red.
So he intuits the truth and that his initial impression was wrong.
His initial impression of this case, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
So
his
there's
initial
still-
impression of you.
So there's still a chance of the ship.
Of the ship.
What is happening here? I feel like I keep saying this a lot, but you know, you can see the gears going through his mind. He was ready to accept that Akari Genji was actually the villain here the whole time. And now he's looking at you, and all he's getting is pure intentions. You are not running a game on him. This is the best insight he's ever had, and he's trusting his instincts that you are a loyal samurai and that you have delivered to him justice. And he says, I'm going to run these ballistics, but I think we both know what they're going to come back with.
If they don't, please let me know, because it's important that this is done. But I feel confident in whatever, especially because you confessed. But once again, I can give you a statement to that effect. That's it.
This is the friendly persuaders. We don't need statements. Your word is good enough.
Thank you for your help, Detective.
He gives you a very deep bow and says, thank you for your help.
I'll return the bow. A little bit shallower, but only because of protocol.
You can hear him calling for someone called Honshu to run the... He's like, run the prints on this weapon and get me a ballistics report. Get this down to the girls in the lab. Pronto. I don't know what pronto is in Japanese, but...
That's the guy's name that he's talking to. His name is Pronto.
His name is Pronto. A name which absolutely... There are, 5,000 languages on the earth, and none of them have the name Pronto.
Have the word Pronto. Yeah.
It's one of those words that English has adopted. It's not an English word that's entered the English parlance, like cafe or macho.
But macho is so good. We don't listen. It's okay to have loan words. We don't have to invent them. I'm just upset that savory has been overtaken by umami for some reason, but it's all right. It's a good word. I am offering each of you 500 XP for correctly solving this case. It's so funny
accept.
because
I accept.
So go ahead.
It's so funny because, if you hadn't specifically gotten JW, anyone would have each of the bosses would have pointed you to someone different.
Yeah.
And they all would have been convinced that that's the person behind it.
So we get 500 XP?
Yes.
Okay. Now, wasn't one of my goals to get revenge or avenge Matsuri's death?
Sure. That sounds right to me.
Okay.
You definitely sound like you absolutely war crime this guy's body, so.
I also have that down as a goal.
Okay.
Or at least I wrote it down. I don't know. Who is responsible for Matsuri's death? That's what I wrote down. I have that and still have get Kyeda a wife.
So I believe completing a goal gets you 200. I would say that both of you can say you advanced your own clan for another 200. And there's no way you're hiding this for another 100. So you'll get an additional 500 for having gotten revenge.
So you said 200 for
200, 100. 500 total.
Okay. So 1,000 total?
Yes. For this whole episode.
Only 400 XP from level 3.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, you're an expert. I was going to say. Still, that seems like you're leveling very quickly. Well,
That puts me at, I think that puts me at 1900. I don't know what I need to level up.
You're a warrior. I believe you
Yeah.
need 2010.
Yeah, 2010
Okay.
is 2005.
Yeah.
2005 to level up.
It was a good year, almost as old as I am. No, I watched Fellowship of the Rings today, so it was laid down by my father. Well, we got to get James out of here in less than 10 minutes.
Yep.
So this feels like a good stopping place. You're going to want to have goals for Matsuru's funeral and then your trip featuring Chadwick Powers and JW's daughter and Chadwick's girlfriend and Chadwick's illegitimate son, all joining you and your 3 battle mechs for a trip into the periphery.
A happy family of 5.
Wait, 5? There's 4 people.
Didn't you say he had 2 kids? Or no, he has 1 kid.
He has
plus
1
the
kid, and
the
he
other dude's
promised JW he would take care of his daughter.
Gotcha. Okay, so 4.
That was part of their whatever deal they had in the past. The
Just to
daughter.
make sure that she knows that we killed her father so that she can reappear in 15 years in the future to get revenge.
Yeah.
They'll be like one of those Japanese bamboo clappers, like 3 times, and then the harp sound as a bunch of cherry blossoms blow across the screen, and then an arrow appears in Akari's chest, but it's old Akari with silver hair, and she goes, "Oh!" And then we cut to a woman silhouetted by the moonlight standing on top of an archer battle mech with a bow, having shot you with it.
Played by Dave Traeger.
It's like
Dave Traeger's going to play a little girl. Okay.
You've seen Kill Bill Volume 1?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, James.
Yeah.
I've seen Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yeah, the first girl she kills, and then the kid, the kid walks in. She's like, when you're older, you want to square this way with me? Come look me up,
Yeah.
The music for the intro to the hotel battle scene, which is called Battle Without Honor or Humanity, is still one of the top 5 movie tracks of all time, topped only by the Blade Club fight scene song.
That was my ringtone for ages. Was Battle
Blade Club
Honor.
fight scene.
Yeah.
Oh, Battle for Honor
No.
and Humanity. Okay.
Yeah.
Matrix makes it in there as well in one of the top 5, but
it's now Seven Nation Army is my current ringtone. But
wow.
the version from the Battlefield trailer.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would have gone with the version from Postmodern Jukebox. They do like a 1920s jazz cover.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about this episode, guys?
I thought it went pretty good.
Yeah.
We managed to avoid torture, and then we went to torture snuff.
Did you? Did you manage to? I recall someone saying that they put a gun in someone's stomach after cutting all of their fingers off.
I said we avoided torturing. Yeah, we managed to skip over torturing the person we were going to torture, and instead it turned into
Tortured the next guy. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, I thought it went good. I'm excited for the consequences because I'm sure there will be some.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be some.
I don't know that there's any immediate consequences for you. There is, however, the understanding that, you've solidly aligned yourself as a Yakuza rather than as a samurai to the Yakuza. Whatever dream...
To who, though?
To other Yakuza, they now recognize that you are one of them.
Why, though?
You have made deals with both Chadwick Powers and Hebizuna Ryu, who represents...
Yeah, but only Chadwick Powers knows about the deal.
Well, Hebizuna Ryu knows about the deal you have with him.
Yes, that's the only deal.
Assumably, his boss, who is the boss
Right.
of bosses for the entire planet, also knows about it.
Yes, that's right. That's the consequence I referred to. And I'm like,
Sure.
I literally owe this man and his boss vicariously a favor.
But the other thing to recognize is that Akari has essentially come to accept within herself that whatever dream there was of her not being involved with the Yakuza is dead. Like you're
I don't know if that's true.
You've
I think
killed
she's
someone for the Yakuza now.
I mean, as a player, I know that's true, but as for her, I think she's probably in denial, right? I'm sure she's lying to herself and telling herself that I just did that for this one thing because this one thing was so important.
How very last of us of you.
I had to do it this way, right? And like now I'll be good.
Yes.
Now I'll just as soon as I pay off this favor, it'll be all good, right? Like that's the lie.
Thing. Yeah, I got
it. Yes, that's the lie she tells herself. She has not come to grips with the fact that she is now irredeemable, and I don't know if she ever does up until the day she dies. I think she'll still see herself as that, because that's kind of like one of her background traits is that she's a priest, right? Like she has this belief that you can do bad things and dark things and still be redeemed. Right. And she sees it as her responsibility to redeem bad people, which I think is one of the reasons why she offers Powers a deal, right? Like she wants to give him the opportunity to go live a good life somewhere else. It aligns with her sort of arrogant, self-purported purpose. Like she'll be the devil that helps other people, turn the cheek.
Listen, I'm just here to help her
Be the
what's
worst
that movie
characters
with
you
Tom
can possibly
Hanks?
be.
The Road to Perdition. I'm here to help her down that road to perdition.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
It is a pretty good movie. Underrated in its time. All right.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. We gotta, we gotta get James out of here.
James,
are we?
It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Good for next week.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, what's next week? Maybe not actually.
It would be the first.
Next week will be the first. Nope, I'll be in Colorado. Can't do next week.
Okay, I'm marking it down.
I'll be fine the following week, but I will point out the following week will be on my birthday. Not that that will be a problem for me, but just like I'll expect like extra attention.
Perfect time to gift James a copy of Pal World.
Make your next goal to play in your IRL birthday, and then you'll complete it just automatically. Just
That's
XP for your birthday.
Worthy goal for a samurai.
Yeah, I'll be to see if Pal World's still around in 2 weeks' time.
Oh, wow, what a bold statement. Jesus. They've dodged everything so far.
Well,
I wish
the Mr. Burns referenced the meme today. I thought that was good.
I haven't seen that.
So it's the scene where Mr. Burns, where he goes to the doctor tells him he's got all these things wrong with him, but it's like they're all trying to get through a door and none of them get through because they're all crammed in there. And he's like, "So I'm fine then." It's like, no, if only a single one of these gets through, you'll die. It was the same thing. It's like these are all the things you've infringed, but there's so much in there that nobody can work out what what the biggest thing is. He's like, no, I'm fine. No, if only one lawsuit gets through, you're fucked.
Look, I wish I could be as excited about Power World as the people who are excited about Power World.
It is an incredible experience that we have waited a generation for. It is programmed by a bunch of morons who don't know how programming works. They accidentally published the reverse engineering code pamphlet. So people are already making hack engines for it, even though it's only been out for 1 week. They literally are able to go, oh, we've got the PFD file, not the PDF. I think it's called the PFD file that shows how all the programming works that's not supposed to be published. Was released in the Steam files, and they're just like, oh, so we can now change whatever we want about the game because we know how the programming works. And yet they made a game that was fun and people want to play it. I mean, it's the most selling game of the year. I think they're at 10 million. Okay, I can't spend all of our time talking about how much I like Power. I like it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
All right, I have to go and play D&D with my kids in my nation's capital.
Ugh,
Wow,
ugh.
how specific. By the way,
What what a
audience,
torturous life.
Canberra is considered one of the worst capitals in the entire world.
On what scale? Like what
Location.
What is it? The location. It is a poor location. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice, I guess. At least
If
it's
you
not
like-
in a swamp.
If you like living in a cold valley.
Yeah, plenty of people do. Say hello to our Norwegian audience.